Good morning, class. So, welcome to another week of another learning. Last week, we have learned about the different kinds of nouns, pronouns, and then the verbs, which, of course, I hope you were able to watch and you were able to as well do the activities assigned. Now, this week, we will finish the content of Unit 1. And in this specific video, we will continue our discussions, especially on the figures or the parts of speech and focusing on adverbs, adjectives, and adverbs. And then in the next few videos, we will also have prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections, so that by the end of the week, we are already done with Unit 1. So let me get started with the discussion with you. Alright, so we are now in our discussion on adjectives. So what is an adjective? An adjective is a word that modifies a noun or a pronoun by limiting its meaning. So in short, it is giving specificity to a certain noun. So what kind of noun is it? So it's giving descriptions. So examples we have here, $3. The 3 here is actually the adjective because it's specifying, it's modifying the dollars in this example. Next, we also have Chinese teacup. The Chinese modifies and specifies the kind of teacup there is. Any objections? Any is a form of adjective. As well as purple balloon. This is the color adjective. And we also have baby ducks. Baby ducks. The baby ducks is modifying what type of ducks there are. And we also have no parking. The no here is the adjective. Now we will get to understand each as we go along these examples. Now, an adjective may describe a noun or pronoun by answering one of these questions. As you can see in this screen, we have an example here. So it would either answer what kind, which one, how many, or how much. Okay? So examples of what kind. What kind of scarf do you want me to buy you? The blue scarf. There's that modification or specification of a certain noun. So we also have which one do you like? So if there is an option of choice, so the person would say that one. So there is, it answers the question, which one? Or it could also answer, the answer could be the second one or the second try, the first one, the first dress or the first pair of shoes, And it would also answer the question, how many? How many pages would you like me to photocopy in this material? So you'd say 30 pages. So the number 30 here is describing the noun pages. And also we have how much? How much trouble are you in? So two verb forms can also act as adjectives. We have the present participle, which ends in ing, and the past participle, which ends in ed, or the irregular form of a past participle. Now, an example. We put them into examples. We have a dancing hen. So it is a form of a verb form, right? But ending with an ing. Okay. But in this statement, it is used as an adjective. Then we have the crumpled paper, a broken dish. Now remember, adjectives are not only limited to verb forms or other kinds of very obvious descriptions. But pronouns can also serve as adjectives. So for example, we have possessive pronouns like my, our, yours, or his, her, its, and their, which act as adjective when they modify nouns. So demonstrative pronouns like this, that, these, and those can also be considered demonstrative adjectives when they modify nouns. Similarly, nouns can serve as adjectives. Possessive nouns, like possessive pronouns, can be used as adjectives. In fact, Any noun that modifies another noun can be considered an adjective. So again, it's not just limited to specific adjectives like the color adjectives, the green, the red, and the other, the other types of adjectives, but also like verb forms could also be made into adjectives, like as well as pronouns, as well as other kinds of nouns. So a noun could describe another noun and they would function as adjectives as well. So we have examples. If you could see the screen, we have here my kitten. My here is the possessive adjective. Another example, we have those bicycles. So those here are actually demonstrative pronouns that function as demonstrative adjectives. Okay. So we also have Lucy's report. It is a possessive noun, but it acts as an adjective. Okay. Because it is describing the report. It is giving the modification of the report. And we also have here another noun acting as an adjective. We have leather shoes. Leather is a noun, but in this statement, leather is describing the shoes, the kind of shoes. So an adjective's position in relation to the word it modifies may vary. Okay, they vary. So for example, how spicy the chili is, or so again, the adjective's position in relation to the word it modifies may vary. So we just use one term, spicy, in this example in this screen. But if you notice the positioning, the meaning would actually, the meaning would actually vary. So examples. How spicy the chili is. The spicy chili steamed in its kettle. Okay. The chili is spicy. Again, all of these examples, the spicy here is actually an adjective, but it is placed in different ways. It varies, and the meaning somehow varies as well. The intensity of the meaning. Pepper makes the chili spicy. The chili, spicy as tamales, steamed in its kettle. Spicy as tamales, the chili steamed in its kettle. So, again, an adjective's position in relation to the word it modifies actually varies. It varies on the positioning. So let's go now into our next discussion, which is adverbs. We are done with the adjectives. This time we are going to adverbs. So an adverb is a word that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb by making its meaning more specific. So we have here on the screen the following sentences illustrate the use of adverbs to modify verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. So examples of modifying verbs. Adverbs, modifying verbs. She ran quickly. So the quickly is modifying the ran. Okay. She has often won. So it is modifying how the verb form won. How often does he win? Okay. And we have here modifying adjectives. She is very talented and extremely diligent. So we have the adjectives talented and diligent. Now, the words that are modifying the adjectives are the adverbs. So we have here very for modifying the adjective talented, and we also have extremely for modifying the adjective diligent. Okay. So we also have adverbs modifying adverbs. Examples. She almost always runs quite fast. Okay. She almost always runs quite fast. So we have here an adverb modifying another adverb. Okay. So adverbs tell when, where, how, and to what degree. So example, we have here Example of when. I got your letter yesterday. So the yesterday here, it tells the when of a statement, you know. And we also have where. The wagon train headed west. So it is an adverb that tell when and that tell where rather. Example of how. Play this section softly and sweetly. So how will you play the section? You play it softly and sweetly. So we also have an adverb that actually modifies to what degree, to what certain degree. So example, we have here, this railing is dangerously rickety. Is dangerously rickety. So that's an example. Now let's go into the positioning of these adverbs. An adverb that is modifying a verb can sometimes be placed in different positions in relation to the verb. An adverb that modifies an adjective or another adverb, however, must immediately precede the word it modifies. So, in modifying a verb, we have here, generally, we eat at 6. Okay. Again, an adverb that is modifying a verb can sometimes be placed in different positions in relation to the verb. Different positions. So generally, you can start with generally, we eat at 6. Or you can also have, we generally eat at 6. Okay. Or we eat at 6 generally. So it could be placed in different positions. Now, in modifying an adjective, we have here an example. The soup was definitely lukewarm. The soup was definitely lukewarm. So if possible, it has to be beside the word it modifies. So an adverb that modifies an adjective or another adverb, however, must immediately precede the word it modifies. Okay. We also have here another example. We almost never, so this is an example of modifying an adverb modifying another adverb. We almost never have dessert. Okay. So negative verbs as adverbs. So that's, you know, it's used a lot of times. So example, the word not and the construction N apostrophe T are adverbs. Certain adverbs of time, place, and degree also have negative meanings. So, the color didn't fade. The color didn't fade. The dye hardly ever fades. The dye hardly ever fades. If correctly said, this dye never fades. The tints can barely be distinguished. And there are no undyed patches. We cannot complain about the color. Now, here we have a practice exercise. I did not give a practice exercise when we had our discussion on adjectives, but here in adverbs, I would have to ask you to do this exercise. So if you have been listening to the presentation, you would know that this is an assignment on page 118. Adverbs. Now write instructions of this activity, for this activity. Write each adverb and what it modifies. Then tell whether what is modified is a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So we have here items 1 until 10. So what you will do is you write this down on another document form and then you answer according to what is asked. Okay? So, again, you answer the exercise or the practice exercise on page 118, the exercise on adverbs, and it's up to items 110. Items 10 rather. So, let's go now into the adverbs that compare. So, these are the comparative and the superlative kinds of adverbs. Now, some adverbs, like adjectives, have different forms to indicate the degree of comparison. So the degree of comparison. We are here now on the degree of comparison. So we have the positive, and then we have the comparative, and then we have the superlative. I know you've had this when you were in grade school and in high school. So definitely this is just a review. Okay, so we have here the positive adverbs. Sat near, talks slowly, dances well, writes badly, draws beautifully, looks far, left early. So all of these adverbs are in the positive form. Now when we will be using this adverb, these positive adverbs, into comparing nouns, or comparing people or things, again, or other or nouns in that effect, we change the form. Okay, we change the form, and definitely the meaning is actually affected as well. So instead of just saying sat near, we say sat nearer. Okay, talks slowly, comparative form, talks more slowly. Okay, maybe people will ask, Mom, how about we will not use the word more? We will just use the word, we will just add ER at the end of the comparative word. So you'd say, talk slower, slowlier, because it's not slow lang ha. If it is slow, maybe you can say slower. But it's slowly. The adverb is slowly. So is it talk slowlier? But again, it's appropriate to use more at this effect, especially if you notice that the adverbs end in ly. Okay. Now we also have here dances well. So the comparative form of well, we have better. So writes badly. So what's the comparative form of bad or ill? We have worse. So draws beautifully. So again, it ends with an ly. So you add more beautifully. So looks far, and this time you add, you make it farther. It's an er. And then early, this time though it ends with ly, you have to add the er in this example. So left early. In comparative form, earlier. Now let's include the superlative form. So if it's near, nearer, nearest, the est form, the superlative of adverb comparison, degree of comparison form. This is the extreme, or it's not just comparing one or comparing two or three, but it's actually giving the degree when it is comparing a great number, or everything or everyone involved in the statement. So we have here near, nearer, nearest, slowly, more slowly, most slowly, dance well, better, best, badly, worse, worst, beautifully, more beautifully, most beautifully. We have far, farther, farthest, early, earlier, earliest. Okay. So again, there is another example or another exercise that you need to make, or you need to submit to me, and this is in page 119. The practice exercise on adverbs that compare. So you will create a table. It has to be in table form. The positive, the comparative, and then the superlative form of these statements. So we have items 1 until 10. So we have fast, carelessly, early, frequently, high, deeply, recently, delicately, poorly, or low. We have here. So I hope you are picking up so far with our discussion in adverbs. I'd like us to proceed to prepositions, but I have to end this video, and then I have to cut it, and we can proceed with prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections.